Well, all manner of challenges around this week, Mark, and you spoke about some of them at the weekend. Is the basic principle here to have some signs of progress when you get stuck in a bit of a rut? You mentioned around losing fewer games. If you're not winning, at least taking something. Is that a good starting point?
Absolutely, yeah, we've got to try to. I mean, I think when we look at Saturday's game, the way it played out in the second half, it was a bit of a non-event really, and as frustrating as that can be, if you can scratch that off as a point, then you just move on from it. So at some point we've got to try and end the run of defeats, which we know is going to be challenging with the games that we've got this week and with the player availability that we're going to have this week, I think. But we've got to do the best we can and roll our sleeves up and crack on and fight through it. And it's just another opportunity to try and show a real togetherness and a fight about us to make the game as scruffy as we can and try to be competitive against what is a top team tomorrow night and a team that's got some very strong players in it. So we know where we are at the moment. We know it's a really difficult spell. We'll probably be a little bit lighter at tomorrow than we were on Saturday, even in the squad. So it's one of those spells at the moment where everything that can go against us does, and it can feel like that a little bit. But my job really is to try to convince the players that it will turn, things will get better, and we've got to work our way through this and put up with the constant disappointments and that little knock of confidence, which there is at the minute, and it's understandable to some extent, but it's down to us to try and turn that and to try and control that. So I'm looking forward to seeing how we get through that and how resilient we are during this period, because I think when you're in a good run of form and everything's going your way, any moments of challenge are met with a resilience that's probably easier to handle. And when it's tough, that's where it is really takes a lot for you to just get through it together. But we've got a group of lads that are hurting, that want to do well, that want to do better than they are, and we're certainly not pleased with the results or the run that we've had. Far from it. But at the same time, it's a bad month in a big spell of time where we've been doing ever so well. So we've got to try and turn that, and I'm sure we will. But we've got to do our best to try and make that tomorrow night.
Yeah, in some respects, is it quite obvious to focus on mindset because you've got these two games coming quite quickly? It's not as though you can spend loads of time on the training ground or magic up a left back. It is mentality that you can focus on and hopefully can drive you through.
Yeah, I think so, Swanee. I think that's the big. There are very, very few opportunities to train at the moment between the games with the game load that a lot of the players are having. So we have to try to find ways of doing it differently, or just trying to lift the spirits of the players and make them believe in themselves, in the fact that it's an obvious one that confidence gets shook when results aren't going your way. It's a very fragile thing. We have to go back a little bit of time to remind ourselves what we can do. And the truth is, for a lot of the players, and particularly those that are younger ones that haven't been through this so many times before, I think it's a case of when everyone told us we were great after 5 games ago, that wasn't true. And now everyone will tell us we're not. That isn't true either, really. So we've got to find some individual pride and responsibility to deliver really good performances and the best that we can. And if we do that, then we can make ourselves a hard team to beat. And then on top of that, you try and chip away at the other bits. And I'm sure over time that will turn. But we're certainly looking forward to getting to a period when we have a bit of time between games. November's a 2-game month for league games, which will be well timed for us because it will just give us some time to get on the grass and get some players back, hopefully. Certainly not the long-term ones, obviously, but in the case of a lot of the other boys that have just gone game after game, we've played a heck of a lot of games across by this stage of the season, and it's really taken its toll on us. I think you can actually see it at top level, but also throughout the leagues. If you see the news and the interest in other clubs, everybody's having those challenges at the moment. It's certainly hit us probably more so than others, but it is what it is. You can't do anything about it other than attack the next little part and try and do something in a proactive way. So that's our challenge now.
Yeah, in terms of attacking that part this week, tactically, have you got a few more options available insofar as, I think one of the things that worried you about playing the back four with the players you've got available was having that attacking impetus. Given the nature of the games this week and talking about almost returning to first principles, does that open up perhaps switching back to a back four? Does it make it slightly more appetising?
I think it opens it up, definitely. I mean, we went there at half time on Saturday. I think what the last couple of weeks has shown us is, I mean, it's funny, isn't it? It's like you're only right if you win, obviously. So we changed the shape for all the right intentions and reasons. And in moments of those games, against Sheffield Wednesday. We were banging the game against a top team, and it had some strength to the performance and to the system, and we could see something there that might benefit us. We haven't really built a squad around that shape, and player availability is always the question of, right, how many players are in an uncomfortable situation here versus the other shape. So we've given it as an option for us. We obviously beat a strong Ipswich side on Tuesday playing that way, and that was well for us. And then it didn't work for us in the first half Saturday, so we changed and got a bit more control of the game on the second half Saturday, but it was a very imbalanced game and not so much happened, and that's probably down to a little bit where we are at the moment. So I think what it's shown us is it's a shape that we think we could benefit from. There's lots of different ways of playing that, obviously. To become a team that regularly performs in that way, we probably need some of the other players fit, or one or two transfer windows to build a slightly different squad that's available to switch from one to the other, but we've still got the ability to do that. So I think going into this week, we give ourselves the option of both systems, both shapes, and a little bit will be dependent on the opposition, but more so probably on our availability of players and who is fit and available going into each game. So we've got a little bit to do this morning to see who's fit. But regardless of probably what system we play, we just want a real return to the basics and make it as simple as possible for our lads to go and deliver. And part of my job is to try and give them real clarity and take away any ambiguity and take away any stress and anxiety, which is hard to do. There's an individual responsibility to show up and grow up and do your job, but at the same time we've got to support them through a period that they haven't been through as well. So it's new for all of us, and I think change is the right thing sometimes, and you do it for the right reasons and it works, or it doesn't work. And then the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. So in some respects you have to change sometimes and try things, and sometimes they'll work and sometimes they won't. But what the last couple of weeks has given us is a bit of variety and an option, which I think will serve us well in the long term.
With Greg, his bump to the head from Saturday, does that rule him out for Tuesday night? It
does, yeah, and potentially the weekend. We'll see how he is. He's concussion protocols now, so he's groggy as on Saturday at half time and Sunday still. So he's a possibility for the weekend, depending on how that return to play goes. But those protocols are very strict and stringent, and rightly so as well. So we'll see how he goes over the next couple of days. He'll have to start doing things from today in order to be available Saturday. But he'll see the physios this morning and do all his tests and see whether that's a possibility.
And we've had so many injuries to contend with, easy to forget one or two. We didn't mention Sekou on Thursday. He picked up a knock in the Ipswich game. Has that impacted him, or was he just out of the squad for tactical reasons?
Yeah, no, he was just out of the squad. He had a bit of a dead leg, but nothing that would have kept him out of the squad. He'll obviously come back into that tomorrow night. Everybody else that played in the game, all the longer term injuries are obviously out for a period now, and then 2 or 3 of the boys that did play on Saturday, Greg being one of them, are getting checked this morning. So we could well be a couple down from Saturday as well. So we'll have a look at that, and I don't think anybody back that wasn't available at the weekend. So it might leave us lighter, on the bench and in the squad, but that's just where we are at the moment, and we've got to get through that the best way we can, and hope everyone continues to support us through that. And I think in the majority of cases that is the case. People understand who we are, where we're at. It's a difficult moment for us, but we've got to dig in and get through it.
Yeah, and with Wycombe, perhaps typically of how things are going at the moment, you come up against them when they've hit a bit of a roll, winning 3 on the bounce, and they're a team that you struggled to get a handle on really last season. Yeah, it's funny.
I say this quite often about you can't choose the order of your games, you can't choose when you play people, and the moment another team is in can be really impactful as to how the game goes. So probably 6 weeks ago would have been a good time to play Wycombe and a bad time to play us, and now it's probably the other way around. So that is just the way the cookie crumbles, really. They're a strong side. Obviously, they're one of the contenders to be promoted. They've benefited hugely from the promotion season. It allowed them to really invest in the squad. They've got championship players in there. They've got a few injuries themselves. They're a little bit lighter in certain areas, but they've still got a strong squad that are doing well and have found a good run of form themselves at the moment. And we know the style of play and the physicality of their teams will really test us defensively and test us to be an aggressive team that defends our penalty box well. And we have to try to give the best of ourselves in that side and try to make sure that we have a confidence about us with the ball that can create and cause them some problems.
Cool, that's great.
just on the injury front, with Dimmy's scan, are you expecting to find out more today, or do you know a bit more already?
Yeah, we hope to find out a little bit more today. That's being read today in London, so we should get some sort of outcome as to timescales and things at some point today or tomorrow. So hopefully when we speak on Thursday, I'll be able to give you good information on that.
Yeah, and with Harrison Dunk, he's still penciling in the Peterborough game at the weekend, or do you think that might come too soon?
I don't know actually at the minute. He did some good work back end of last week. He's not training with the team yet, so he'll be with the physios again today and tomorrow and outside doing bits, but I'm not sure. That was originally a penciled in date. I think the way that things have gone, it looked a little bit more unlikely that was going to be the case, but we'll see how the next couple of days go, and again come later in the week I'll be able to give you a yay or nay on that.
Yeah, and with Wycombe as well, what are their main threats as a team, do you think?
I think the front of the team, excellent. You look at their front three at the moment, it's Sam Vokes, Mametti and McCleary. And that's pretty strong. That's pretty exceptional really for the level. So in terms of the direct threat that you get there and the individual qualities and athleticism of the two behind Vokes, gives them a real strength and a real threat in the game. They've got unbelievable set plays and delivery on those situations, and as a team they're very forceful and aggressive to keep the game in your part of the pitch. So they certainly play a style that they've been well oiled in now for a long time. They've had some flexibility in the system and the shape they've played, but the style remains very similar, and they're getting more and more of those top players back fit, and obviously as that's happened the results have turned for them as well. So that's an understandable consequence of having players fit and available. We're in the opposite sort of cycle of that at the moment, but what you do know is it turns, and we've just got to work our way through that. So we know it's a difficult challenge, but at the same time it's a challenge, and we have to go there with some optimism and see if it's the game we can make it turn.
And fundamentally, what are you looking to see from your side tomorrow night?
Yeah, that really, all the things that I've said. Try to be an aggressive team, try and defend well, try and be super compact and super defiant in the way in which we play. I think that's the key thing now. So just try and find the best level that we can with the players that we've got available, and a nice togetherness and spirit about us, and see if we can cause an upset, because right now everybody's written us off from ever doing anything ever again. So hopefully we can prove a few people wrong.